On this episode of GWeek, we talk to GW students about their thoughts on Obama's new gun control measures, get an inside look at why the university revoked Bill Cosby's honorary degree, and explore how GW students braved the historic snowstorm that crippled the district. All this and more on GWeek. Welcome to another episode of GWeek. I'm your host, Mary Grace Brown. A new exhibit is coming to GW later this year. The National Churchill Library and Center began construction on the first floor of the Gelman Library on December 21st. The exhibit and learning space will be dedicated to the legacy of Winston Churchill. It will contain a collection of handwritten cards detailing the famed British Prime Minister's appointments during World War II. It will be the first permanent location in the U.S. for the study of Winston Churchill. A new lawsuit against GW. The family of freshman Sean Kiefer, who died by suicide in January 2014, is suing for negligence. They are asking for $15 million in damages. Kiefer visited mental health services twice in the days before his death and never received a suicide assessment or a treatment plan. The lawsuit states that Kiefer's suicide was caused by the careless and/or direct reckless failures of former director of mental health services, Sylvia Wisner, and the two clinicians he met with. Wisner was unlicensed to practice as a psychologist in D.C. at the time. He was forced to resign after university officials discovered this. Kiefer was one of 3 students who committed suicide at GW during the 2013 to 2014 academic year. GW students, supported by the Student Association and Students Against Sexual Assault, successfully reversed the administration's choice to let Bill Cosby's honorary degree stand in light of numerous sexual assault allegations. Here's reporter Samantha Cherry with the story.
After much pressure from the GW student body, University President Stephen Knapp decided on January 11th to rescind Bill Cosby's honorary degree. After the original word that GW would not be rescinding Cosby's honor, the Student Association, along with sexual assault awareness groups, began to rally behind an effort to have the degree rescinded. Leading the fight was Columbian College Senator Erica Feynman.
The reason why this case is, in a way, extraordinary is because this is very much still a living, breathing case, and rescinding his degree has really immediate impact on survivors on our campus today and on survivors of Bill Cosby's atrocities.
More than 50 allegations against Cosby involving drugging and sexually assaulting women have been recorded since 1967, but only since 2014 have they been made public. Feynman partnered with Students Against Sexual Assault, or SASA, as well as 2 other Student Association senators, Thomas Felsigno and Nick Watkins, to write a resolution urging GW administration to reverse their decision and rescind the degree. The resolution passed unanimously by the SA and was brought to President Knapp. While we are shocked and disturbed by the allegations against Mr. Cosby, honorary degrees are conferred at a moment in time based on what a university knows about the honoree at the time. It has never been the university's practice to rescind an honorary degree, said a university statement in defense of their original decision. After a meeting with representatives from the SA and reviewing the resolution, the GW administration produced a new statement officially rescinding the degree. Sexual assault and sexual assault prevention have been a hot-button issue for GW students since the beginning of the It's On Us campaign in 2014. Having Cosby's degree rescinded would be yet another victory for the push against sexual assault.
It matters to me because it matters to my community, it matters to my friends, it matters to people who I know that are survivors. Being a survivor myself, it matters to me. And being a senator, it really matters. I think that hopefully the university can just try to use this as an example to ensure that they are working harder to make sure that the people that we honor do reflect the values of our community and our university in the future.
Thanks, Samantha. The School of Media and Public Affairs welcomes its 2 J.B. and Maurice C. Shapiro Fellows for the spring 2016 semester, Laura King and Yong Chan Kim. In its 18th year, the fellowship brings active professionals from the field to the classroom to engage with GW students. King is taking a leave of absence from her position as the Los Angeles Times bureau chief in Cairo, and Kim comes from Yonsei University in South Korea. Both professors are teaching courses to help fill the 2 open faculty positions in SMPA, one in political communication and one in journalism. The director of SMPA, Frank Sesno, announced the school is planning to hire 2 new faculty members soon, indicating that SMPA is rather unaffected by the massive budget cuts across the university. We'll be right back with more headlines after the break.
Raise high. This isn't just our battle cry. It's our call, our challenge. Because when you are called to Washington, you are called to higher expectations, to a higher standard. We are called here to advance knowledge, to serve society, to change the world. This is the George Washington University, and what we make is history. So stand up, be bold, take risks, press on, push harder, raise high.
In President Obama's 8th and final State of the Union address, he barely mentioned one of the biggest issues of his presidency, gun control. Rather than including the issue of gun violence in his speech, Obama made a symbolic statement by leaving one seat empty next to the First Lady to honor victims of gun violence. President Obama hopes to make some headway on this issue in his last year in office. We sent reporter Abby Mansour to the streets to check in with GW students on how they feel about Obama's gun control measure.
Thanks, Mary Grace. We're here on the streets of GW to talk about Obama's policy on gun control. Let's see how the community feels. How do you feel about gun control in this country?
I think it's something that needs to be addressed, definitely. It's ridiculous how easy it is for people to buy weapons of any kind.
I believe that gun control should definitely be increased in our country, just given the amount of mass shootings that have happened just over the past year.
Well, since that just under 13,000 people have died from unintentional shootings, I think it's totally horrible and totally preventable.
How do you feel about Obama's executive order over gun control?
I'm glad that he's finally taking a stand through executive action, and I know it's controversial that he's taking it through executive action and basically circumventing Congress, but I think it's important and I think it's necessary.
I like it. I think he's taking initiative and I fully support him. And how do you feel about him going against Congress for this action?
If he believes strongly about it, I believe he should do it. I believe in Barack Obama.
They're not doing their part in solving this issue and preventing innocent people from dying because of guns. And I'm proud President Obama has finally taken a step forward to address this issue, and hopefully it'll put an end to some of the bloodshed we've seen over the past few years in this country.
In an interesting turn of events, many GW students thought that gun control should be monitored more and that Obama was correct in his executive action. For GWeek, I'm Abby Mansour. Back to you, Mary Grace.
Hundreds of GW students and local residents gathered together to help the community in GW's annual Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. The event took place on Monday, January 18th at various on- and off-campus locations. The GW women's field hockey team volunteered at DC Bilingual to clean up the building and build a new reading nook. Volunteers also participated in workshops across DC to support the community and honor Dr. King. We'll be right back after this commercial break. Stay with us.
It's on us.
To stand up to those who tell us it's not our business.
To tell our friends if what they're doing is wrong.
It's on us.
To do something, anything, to keep an assault from happening.
To be more than a bystander.
To create an environment where women feel and are safe.
It's on us.
To change the way we talk about women.
To be part of the solution, not part of the problem.
It's on us.
To say something when our friends are being stupid.
To hold our friends accountable for their actions.
It's on us.
To look out for someone who's had too much to drink.
To step in if a friend is doing something that could lead to sexual assault.
It's on us.
To not give our friends a pass.
To never blame the victim.
To stop a sexual assault any way we can.
I am a member of the George Washington University community, and it's on us to end sexual violence.
I believe. I believe that. I believe that we. I believe that we will win.
I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
Snowmageddon, Snowzilla, Snowpocalypse, whatever you choose to call it, Winter Storm Jonas was one of the largest snowstorms to ever hit D.C. It affected a vast area all across the East Coast, blanketing Pennsylvania, New York, North Carolina, West Virginia. Take a look at Winter Storm Jonas by the numbers. According to the Weather Channel, the total snowfall at Reagan National Airport was 17.8 inches. This tied the 2010 snowstorm, making it the fourth heaviest snowstorm dating to 1884. To see how the storm specifically affected GW, we sent reporter Rudy Venkatesan to check out the snow-covered campus. Rudy?
Thanks, Mary Grace. This past weekend, a record-hitting snowstorm, Jonas, hit the entire East Coast. It enveloped the DC metro area with nearly 2 feet of snow, and classes were canceled all over the city.
Beginning Friday afternoon, the storm lasted over 24 hours, leaving Foggy Bottom area with limited resources. Local restaurants and eateries, including Tonic, Phobogro, and J Street, were open for students throughout the weekend. University maintenance staff worked tirelessly to help keep roads and sidewalk conditions safe. We met with a few students to discuss their thoughts on Winter Storm Jonas.
I went to the Lincoln Memorial with my friends. We had a giant snowball fight. It was really, really fun. We tried finding food, but it was really hard. So we ended up at carvings, but it was fun.
Well, for one, it was sure a lot of snow. However, it was really fun to play in. Doing your monuments, midnight walk out in the snow is quite a treacherous feat, but very fun, very enjoyable. Sidewalks are a little dangerous, but you can't beat it, so.
I didn't really do much of anything. On Saturday I went to the monuments, which was pretty fun, but other than that, I've mostly just been in bed, trying to do homework, but failing miserably.
After being given a snow day on Monday, students were left with the opportunity to catch up on homework, get some rest, or even go sledding down Capitol Hill.
I'm Ruti Venkatesan for GWeek. Back to you, Mary Grace.
Thank you, Rudy. The university announced its highest acceptance rate in a decade. 69% of early decision applicants were admitted to the class of 2020. Officials said accepting a large number of students early on ensures GW monetary quotas are met. This high percentage follows trends across the country of increased acceptance rates. Congratulations, New Colonials. We will see you in the fall. Starting in spring 2017, GW will send its first cohort of students to China as part of its newly launched Global Bachelor's program. The objective is to foster a study abroad experience that gives students the confidence to pursue their educational and career goals in multiple international settings. The program begins next fall with a 1-credit preparatory course in Foggy Bottom. Freshmen in the Columbia College of Arts and Sciences, the School of Business, or the Elliott School of International Affairs are eligible to apply. The application deadline is March 18th, and the program will be capped at 30 students. Students must be willing to spend at least 2 of their final 6 undergraduate semesters overseas, with the option to spend a 3rd semester abroad or complete an international summer internship. Next, stay tuned to see the exclusive interview with GW's inaugural Schwartzman Scholarship recipient, Maggie Wiedemann.
Wonderful academic institution with a fine athletic tradition. Patricio Garino throws it down with 2 hands. Wonderful city. It's a great place to go to school.
Keaton Sandwich open down the right side. Will go and Duncan with his right hand.
Not just a family, it's a whole community.
Armwood Duncan with 1.9 seconds left. Armwood, a thunder slam. 81-80 George Washington. A huge victory for the Colonials.
Here with us now is Maggie Wiedemann, the first ever recipient of the Schwartzman Scholarship. Welcome, Maggie.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So, what is the Schwartzman Scholarship?
The Schwartzman Scholarship is a 1-year master's at Tsinghua University in Beijing, and the program really seeks to bring together people from all different backgrounds and internationally from the U.S., international countries, and China to learn about China, whether or not they're specifically interested in China or their careers tangentially relate to China. And it's really about developing their knowledge of China as well as their leadership skills.
Okay. And what specific opportunities will this program offer you when you're in China?
So I think primarily it's there to offer really great knowledge about China, but it's also there to kind of have this networking experience amongst really smart, young, motivated students and professionals so that they can move forward with these relationships and kind of create a broader dialogue about China. And then also, one of the special things about the program is that it's going to match students with kind of leaders in their field. So leaders in, security policy in terms of my interests, but also maybe investment banking or people who have, very prominent roles in these kinds of fields.
Now, how did you first hear about this scholarship?
So I'm kind of lucky in that my parents are both academics, so they kind of had this program on their radar and put it on my radar as early as when I graduated from high school, but it hasn't really culminated until now. And my professor and mentor, Professor David Shambaugh, he suggested I apply to this program in search of a post-graduation opportunity.
Okay, and now tell me about growing up in China and what that was like and how that kind of inspired you to now go about this great opportunity.
Yes, so I spent from 2006 to 2008 in Nanjing, China with my parents, and they worked at the Nanjing Hopkins program. So this was a really important era in terms of economic development within China. So as I was going to school, I would see these massive buildings going up where migrant workers who had traveled all the way from rural farm towns in Western China into these urban town centers to build, these buildings and build this kind of brand new economic development. So that was a really important thing to observe as a young student. It wasn't really something I was cognitive of, but it's something that I've come back to at GW, and part of the reason I chose GW was to be able to study China, both in terms of politics and security, as well as the language.
Now, tell me about the whole interview and application process. Was it pretty rigorous?
Yes, so it was a pretty rigorous process. The initial application was due October 1st, and that received over 3,000 applications. So that was an initial online application with 3 separate essay questions, one about current affairs, one about a personal statement, and your leadership experience, as well as a short video of yourself. And then from that, they chose 300 semifinalists, and they flew those semifinalists to New York, Beijing, London, and I got to go to New York and stay at the Waldorf. And we had a day of interviews amongst a panel, of prominent people. Some people had, former David Petraeus interviewing them. I had former Prime Minister Brian Mulroney of Canada interview me. Big names interviewing you. Yeah. So it's very intimidating when you're, a senior in college and you're like, I'm talking about these really broad concepts, important concepts in the world, and with very important people. So from that, then they chose 111 students to move forward and be selected for the scholarship.
So yeah, 111 selected out of 3,000. That's very impressive. Congratulations again.
Thank you.
Please tell me, what qualities do you think made you stand out?
So it's really hard to know exactly what qualities I have that make me stand out or what qualifies me, because I think it's less about the individual and more about creating a group of individuals who have complementary qualities and can bring new perspectives to the group. So I think that what makes me different from a lot of the students is I'm pretty young, and I have quite early on chosen to study China. A lot of people have already started their careers, and their careers only tangentially relate to China, but I'm very much interested in China academically and in a very specific and focused manner. So I think that brings something different, and I've really devoted time to studying the language. For the past 3 summers, I've been doing intensive Chinese language programs. And so I think that my time investment in China as such a young person has really made me stand out.
Okay, and then, so during your time at GW, how has that prepared you, do you think? You told me you study Chinese here, and obviously you're in the nation's capital, so there was other opportunities here, but just overall, how has GW prepared you for this program?
Yeah, I think GW has been really important in terms of the kinds of scholars they have available to teach undergraduates in terms of China and security policy. I've gotten to study with just such prominent figures at GW that I don't think really exist in other schools that aren't focused on international affairs. So, Professor Sutter, Professor Shambaugh, these are all really big names in the China field, and I, as an undergraduate, have gotten the opportunity to study with them and build mentorships. They are my mentors now, which is really important. And then also, I think that at GW, I've been given a lot of chances to develop my leadership skills. And this is a program that is very much interested about leaders and developing leaders for the future. And I think that through, various opportunities in the university honors program, through alternative breaks, these kinds of things that I've been able to develop my own leadership skills, which have proven to the selection committee that I have potential for the future. I think the last thing that has really prepared me is we have an amazing undergraduate fellowships and research office, and Paul Hoyt O'Connor has really been a formative person in helping me apply to these kinds of more rigorous programs, such as the Critical Language Scholarship and now the Schwartzman program. Just having that support and having that mentorship going forward is just peace of mind.
Now, final question, what are you most excited for?
I think I'm most excited to meet a bunch of new people and have these people just be really interested in something that I'm interested in, share that common interest. I really always valued learning from and listening to my peers, and I think that this is going to be a really special program because it's bringing together so many different kinds of people.
Okay, best of luck. Thank you so much. So glad you were able to come tell us about this opportunity. We'll be right back after the break. Stay with us.
Nearly 16 million people visit Washington, D.C. every year. Some come to witness, some to be heard. We come to make an impact, to learn from leaders, and to lead others. To create and create change. We are the George Washington University. We come to make history.
DC is known for its delectable cuisine. We sent 2 members of our team around the city to decide the best food. Let's check in with them now.
Thanks, Mary Grace. Welcome to our new segment, Let's Talk About It. I'm Ruti.
And I'm Abby.
Let's go try some cupcakes.
Okay, we're here at Baked and Wired trying the unicorn cupcake. It's a vanilla cupcake with cream cheese frosting. Presentation is super cute. I give it an 8. I love the colors.
I like how it doesn't look like a regular cupcake.
The frosting's delicious. It's really sweet, which you get from a cream cheese frosting. It's not too bad. I give it like a 7. And the texture is really
frosting like a 9. I love this frosting. I will say icing to cake ratio wise, I feel like there's just so much cake.
Yeah, like look at this. This cake is like so much.
And there's no
but it makes me really happy together. I like the combination. I give it an 8.
I'm so satisfied.
We got the vanilla cupcake. I give the presentation a 7 or 9. I give it a 9. I like it.
The other one had cooler frosting and it looked more appetizing. This looks really good. Yeah, so I'm gonna give it 7.
Oh wow. At Georgetown Cupcakes, and we got the vanilla squared cupcake. I'm obsessed with this little fondant snowflake. It's so cute.
I think
so
this
winter.
is the best presentation.
I give it a 10.
Of all 10. No excuses. I don't like it.
The cake itself, the texture, like, you know what?
I'm giving the frosting like a 3.
I love the frosting. What are you in the texture cake?
Who puts pudding on a cupcake? It made me really happy to look at it.
Yeah, same. I give it a 7 for like, after a long day of cupcake testing, Georgetown pulled it out with the scores, but Baked and Wired is always #1 in our hearts.
Thanks for joining us on this segment of Let's Talk About It. Back to you, Mary Grace.
The GW campus store has launched a new price match program for the spring 2016 semester. If students find their course materials for a lower price at a competing location, the campus store will give students the difference on a gift card. This is an effort to get GW students the supplies they need at the lowest cost. The largest Powerball Lottery in history, with a sum of $1.5 billion, was won on January 13, 2016. 3 winning tickets have been reported, yet only one couple from Tennessee has claimed their prize. Lisa and John Robinson accepted the cash offer of approximately $983 million. The two other winners, who have not revealed their identities, bought their tickets in California and Florida. The numbers that were drawn were 8, 27, 34, 4, 19, and a Powerball of 10. That brings us to the end of our show. Until next time, make sure to check out GWTV on our website at www.gw-tv.com. Thanks for tuning in, GW. We'll be seeing you around campus.